water, okay? If you are washing dishes, you put it on the side, okay? If you are walking around with a knife, you want to carry it down by your side like this, okay? You walk around with it like this. If you hand someone a knife, you hand it to them like this, handle first, right? Never walk around with a knife on a cutting board and carry it around like this, okay? Super slippery. What else? We're going to go over knife skills, how to cut, so y'all can just whip through this, okay? Don't use any of Miss Shirley's knives. We're only going to use these. We got them specially for your class, so we're only going to use these ones, okay? Before you come in the kitchen, you want to have your hair up. So today's the only exception. Other than that, the dress code that I know Miss Shirley, when she's in here, is going to follow up on is you have to have closed-toed shoes, so no sandals, in case someone does drop a knife, it doesn't go directly into your foot, and you don't burn yourself. You have to have your hair up in a bun, and it is possible. I have a lot of hair, and it stays up all the time, okay? So you have to have your hair up. Jewelry, ideally, you don't have any rings or bracelets can be okay, but your rings you at least want to put in your pocket. Long pants is preferable. And I know it's really hot outside, but at least for this, if you can have some sort of covering on your legs, and we won't be we're not going to be like frying anything in like hot oil, but still if you have boiling water or something like that, it's mostly for that, so that it can protect your legs, okay? Other times that you're going to have to wash your hands, if you touch your hair, if you are digging under your fingernails, if you are doing any body stuff, you're going to have to wash your hands again, okay? If you go to the bathroom, I would hope that I don't need to say, but you're going to have to wash your hands before you get back in here, okay? And then we're going to talk a little bit about cross-contamination, but we'll talk about that more when we actually cook with meat or something. If anyone does have an allergy, you want to keep everything separate as much as possible. That's good that no one here has an allergy, but we are going to, the plan is that y'all are going to cook a portion of dinner for the rest of everyone else. And so you are going to be feeding people, and that's why we have to stick to these standards. If you're cooking for yourself at home, I don't expect you to always use an apron. You can do whatever you want to do if you're the only one eating. But when you're cooking for other people, we have to be really clean. Gloves. I do believe Miss Shirley is going to want you to wear gloves all the time, which is totally fair. With that, it doesn't mean that you automatically don't get to wash your hands, okay? So in between tasks, if you are putting oil on some vegetables and then you're going to go and go into the pantry and touch a bunch of door handles, you have to take your gloves off first, okay? And then put another pair on. You still have to wash your hands in between. They're not impermeable, okay? I don't anticipate that everyone is going to be cutting things at the same time. In general, we're going to be kind of splitting up tasks. So someone might be mixing something, someone might be chopping something, someone might be cooking something. But when you are using, if I say, May, will you chop up like 1 cup of onion, okay? So you're going to grab a cutting board, you're going to grab a towel, and I need water. You're going to get your towel wet, damp, okay? You're just having a cutting board on the metal table. It will slide pretty easily, right? So this knife actually has a lot of grip on it, and so it can slide really easy. So you set your towel down, and put your cutting board on top of it, and it's a lot more sturdy, okay? So it doesn't move around as much. So the chances of you sliding and cutting your finger or whatever are a lot less. So you put a towel down every time. We're going to go over a little bit a safe way of cutting stuff, okay? So round stuff especially is really tricky. I'm going to push you all to try a bunch of new foods throughout this. You don't have to like all of them, but maybe you'll find a few that you do like. So if you have something round like this, we would probably peel this beforehand, right? But your number one thing is you want to get a flat surface as soon as possible. So, okay. So what you're going to do, if I was cutting this rutabaga and I was going to cut it into like slices, you take one of the ends and chop it off, so there's your flat surface, and then it's a lot safer, right? So it's not going to roll around a ton. Whenever you are cutting something, Well, and from there you can go ahead and make it even, and these knives are really sharp, FYI, which is good. It's safer, but they're super sharp. So the more flat surface you can get, the better, okay? Make sense? Good. All right. So carrots are a little bit different, right? Because cutting a carrot this way makes me more nervous than you are cutting it this way, okay? Because this is, it's gonna roll and cut you, right? So as far as safely slicing things, there's this thing called the knuckle rule, and that's so you don't have your fingers out here to get chopped. Also, you want to make sure that your knife isn't coming up too high, or else you're going to come right down on your knuckles, right? So you can, at first, while you are getting used to doing that, I want you to like really take your time, okay? Especially with carrots because they do roll around. And then, yeah, and so then when you get faster, you can, I don't even use my knuckles anymore. I keep my fingers way steered clear of that, okay? But at first, I want, because it's guiding, so then you can cut it the same width every time. And why would we want to cut them the same width? So that they all cook at the same amount, right? So we want them to be the same width, which mine are a little bit off whenever I just roughly do it, but it's pretty similar, okay? And then when you get up this far, this little guy is way different than this, so those aren't going to cook the same, which is okay. And then when it gets down to this, it's more manageable. I do cut it in half, and then you have two flat surfaces you can then cut on. And those are going to be similar to the size of like that, okay? Even though it's not the same. Does that make sense? If you're cutting herbs or something, this is a good way of, once you get them chopped up, you rock it back and forth. So you keep your point on the cutting board like this, and you just rock your knife back and forth, and you put your flat of your hand like that, okay? If you're gonna dice a carrot, you want to cut it long ways and then dice it up real small.